Good morning. Welcome to Walking Boxing. It is Wednesday, November 5th, 2025. And another very, very ordinary day here today in the Macedon Ranges. It's about 7 degrees, but it is cold, it is wet, it is currently spitting. I'm probably about to get a text from my wife to say, do you want me to come and pick you up? I think I'm doing okay at the moment. We'll survive. A little bit of shelter around here if need be, but we'll see. Actually, first of all, I hope you had a good Melbourne Cup day yesterday. I forgot all about it. You can probably tell I'm not a big horse racing fan, and forgot it was even on. So there you go. I'm not sure who won it, but I hope you had a good day, and if you won, good on you. So that was yesterday. Now, quickly before we get into on this day, I want to give a shout out to, what was his name? You'd think I'd be ready, but hang on, let me have a look. It was just from yesterday. This is in regards to Tim Zoo, his nickname. And where's his name? Oh, there's not actually a name. 94 Zol is at 94 Zol is his name on YouTube. Shout out to him, because I reckon he's come up with the best nickname for Tim Zoo. I know that we're wasting a lot of time on a bloody nickname, but the Zoonami, how good is that? Tim Zoo, the Zoonami. I love it. Now, it probably doesn't suit the way he actually fights. Of course, a tsunami is something that's, it comes at you at 100 miles an hour and it's pretty ferocious. Well, I suppose you could say that Tim's, but it's a fast action, all systems go type of weather event, I think it is. And Tim's doesn't really fight that way, but I love the name. Now, most people went with the the zoo nickname as far as being an animal zoo or whatever it might be, but I love the name, the Zoonami. So it's not too late, Tim. We don't need Phoenix. It's not a great nickname. Not too late to change to Tim the Zoonami Zoo. So tell us what you think about that. Keep the nicknames coming. I'll keep mentioning the good ones. But I love that one. So good on you. What was it? At 94 Zol, I think it was. So good stuff. All right. On this day, let's go back to, was a few actually. Where are we? Where are we there? All right. What is it? November 5th. Let's have a quick look. We'll just go through the greatest hits because there's a few to get through. 1953, Dennis Andrews was born. Remember him from his wars with Jeff Harding, the 3 wars with him. He was born in 1953, so that would make him 72 years old. Holy shit, now I really do feel old. 72. What else have we got here? Just go through the big ones. 1989, Azuma Nelson, a 12th round knockout of Jim McDonnell to retain the world 130-pound title. I'll get to the one in 1994 in a second. 2005, Jeff Lacey stopped Scott Pemberton in the second round to retain the IBF 168-pound title. And in 2005, this one, same card actually, Rafael Marquez knocked out Silence Mabuza in the 4th round for the world lightweight title. So which brings me to 1994. And of course, judging by the title in this video, you know which one I'm talking about. Big George Foreman became the oldest heavyweight champion of all time with a 10th round knockout of Michael Moorer. 45 years and 9 months as a heavyweight. Unbelievable. So the fight took place at the MGM Grand for the WBA and IBF heavyweight titles. Of course, George Foreman coming back from, when did he retire? 1977, came back in 1987. And already had the world title shot against Evander Holyfield, come up short in that one. Did he earn another title shot? Because I think he was actually coming off a loss to Tommy Morrison for the WBO title before this one. And back then to the WBO, still in its sort of formative years, it wasn't highly regarded, although it would have been 6 years old, I suppose. So maybe, I don't know, but he was coming off a loss in that fight anyway. And he, of course, had this fight with Moorer. So George Foreman from Houston, Texas. Michael Moorer from Monessen, Pennsylvania. I didn't actually know that Michael Mora's nickname was Double M. Thought they would have come up with something a little bit better than that. But anyway, the purses, $7 million for Michael Mora, $3 million for George Foreman, which seems, 31 years ago. Not bad money. These days you could probably put another zero at the end of it and it'd be probably 70 and 30. The fight records, Foreman 72-4, 67 KOs. Michael Mora 35-0, 30 KOs. As I said, Foreman 45 years and 9 months. Mora was 26, almost 27. The weights, Mora 222. So what's that, about 100 kilos up against George Foreman, who was 250 pounds. So you remember the fight, I'm sure you do. Michael Mora pretty much did what Vander Holyfield did in their fight, pretty much sort of dominate proceedings. George Foreman, as always, tough, hard, not going anywhere, really hard to sort of push back, or sort of dominating the fight, well ahead on points. I think the scorecards, and you remember too, and one little bit of info, or what do you call it, fast fact or something we'll call it, is that George Foreman wore the same trunks in this fight that he wore against Muhammad Ali in 1974 when he was upset in Zaire. And he also had Angelo Dundee, who was the trainer of Muhammad Ali for that fight, in his corner for this fight, which is just amazing. And now, as I said, he was well behind. I was just looking at the scorecard. So the scorecards at the time of the stoppage, and if you remember that George Foreman nailed him with a right hand straight down the middle, and Michael Mora went down like he'd been shot and didn't get back up. What was the score? 88-83 was the scorecards on two of the judges' cards, and 86-85 on the other one. So what was that? 5 rounds to 4 on one, 7 rounds to 2 on the other. So well behind, and he came from nowhere, didn't he? It was like an accumulation of punches. It was just a boom boom and a boom boom and a boom boom, and then boom, the right hand straight down the middle, because he fought obviously a different way than what he did early in his career, because he had to, of course. He's a lot older, but it was always just prod and just keep just poking that jab out, setting it up, and he'd just wait for that big right hand. And the thing about the power of George Foreman, that right hand that landed didn't actually look like it was one of those massive big shots that you see a normal knockout occur, but it was just right on the button, perfectly timed. And Michael Mora, probably not the fortitude of maybe a lot of other heavyweights of the time, just saying, went down, and he always said it was a lucky punch. I just think he wore Mora down. This is the thing, it doesn't matter whether it's lucky or not. End of the day, it's a 12-round fight. George Foreman hung in there and produced a punch from the gods and became the oldest heavyweight champion of all time. So I think they were actually meant to fight a rematch after this, but it never happened. I think Foreman wanted to fight with Tyson, that's right, but the WBA wanted him to fight Tony Tucker, who was a former Tyson victim. Actually went 12 rounds with Tyson, so the WBA stripped George Foreman of that belt, because I think Tucker was managed or promoted by Don King. George Foreman wanted nothing to do with Don King and gave up the WBA belt, who was stripped of it, actually. So then he fought Axel Schultz for the IBF title, won a very, very lucky decision in that one. They were going to match him up with Riddick Bowe. I don't think Foreman wanted that one, relinquished the IBF belt. So never really lost the belts in the ring, and it was always considered the lineal champion until when was because his last fight was Shannon Briggs. So never actually lost the belt or belts in the ring, which is an unusual feat, isn't it? He was actually stripped of both titles, and for different reasons, and never actually lost them. So that was on this day. Big George Foreman, may he rest in peace. He obviously passed away earlier this year. One of the greatest heavyweight champions of all time, and one of the greatest, I think, sports people / personalities, or whatever, celebrities you might want to call it, of all time as well. And of course, after this, he had the George Foreman grill, which I think, there it is there. I knew I'd read something about it. A company called Sultan Incorporated paid over $137 million to buy the rights to the George Foreman grill, and it's estimated he made over $200 million. with that grill. Pretty crazy. So there you go. And of course, there's a movie about him as well. I wasn't overly stressed about the movie, or not stressed, but happy with the movie. I thought they skimmed over it really quick. It's just called Big George Foreman. Look, if you're after just a quick sort of recap of his life and his career, it's a good watch. But I just think they just crammed too much into the movie too quickly, and they didn't really spend too much time. And I think this is why I like the Muhammad Ali movie, because they didn't really focus on a lot of his early stuff, and they had a lot to go with Muhammad Ali. They didn't even sort of go on the Olympics and all that sort of stuff. They sort of focused more on the fight with Foreman in Zaire, but also the Fraser fight and some of his stuff outside the ring. But with George Foreman, they tried to cover his life and career in the space of an hour 40 or something like that. It just was too quick. And it almost reminded me of like a Tully movie, but they should have just focused on key parts of it. Maybe what they could have done is just quickly brushed over the Fraser win, and then the Ali fight, even brushed over that, and then, because I mean it's been covered that many times, and then really focus on the second career. I think that would have been a lot better, and how triumphant that world title win over Michael Moorer was. So that's what happened on this day. All right, so just quickly, officially, the Paul Davis fight is off. They're talking about Anthony Joshua. They're talking about Francis Ngannou, although he's shot it down. He's not interested. Andre Ward's name's been raised as well. But the front runner, not surprisingly, is Nate Diaz. Just turned 40 years old. He lost to Jake Paul, I think 2 years ago. So you can be guaranteed that Jake Paul will shout out all the names. He's mentioned, as I said, Joshua, Ngannou. He's mentioned Crawford. He's mentioned Mayweather. He's mentioned all these big names. You'll probably mention Canelo next. You know, it doesn't matter. He'll roll out all the big names to create a bit of buzz, and then he'll fight someone like Nate Diaz. I've got no doubt. He'll just settle for someone, a 40-year-old guy who's already beaten, who's well past his peak, and all that will be forgotten, that he actually called out fighters who he probably never really had the intention of fighting. Although I will say Francis Ngannou did confirm that they'd reached out to his team, so I don't know, but as I said, you can almost be guaranteed that he'll roll out all the biggest names in boxing, and then he'll fight Nate Diaz. So anyway, we'll see what happens. So just quickly on that one. Another fight that could possibly happen, just quickly too, that's sort of been brought up, is in the females. Katie Taylor and Ronda Rousey. Could we see that fight? I hope not, for Ronda Rousey's sake. I mean, it's just been sort of thrown around at the moment. Katie Taylor's having one more fight apparently, and she wants a big one in her hometown of, home country of Ireland. And a big name like Ronda Rousey could sell a lot of tickets and create a lot of buzz, and probably not a bad way to go out. It reminds me a lot of, obviously, of Floyd Mayweather going out against Conor McGregor, but geez, I mean, Ronda Rousey was a massive name in the UFC back in the day, but if you've seen her actually in the boxing ring, don't worry about the MMA stuff, the judo and the jiu-jitsu and all that sort of stuff. If you just focus on her boxing, I think she might be in a bit of trouble, just quietly. All due respect to Ronda Rousey. Look, contrary to what a lot of people have thought of her, I've actually thought she's been really good. As a fighter, okay, very, very, very limited. I think that was exposed badly against someone like Holly Holm, who could actually fight. Since then, it's come a long way with the girls or the women. They're just fine-tuned fighting machines these days. Back then, the talent pool was very, very shallow. So Ronda Rousey dominated pretty much just with the one move all the way through. And then when she come up against someone like Holly Holm, who was a seasoned fighter, who could actually fight with her hands and also her feet, she was in all sorts of trouble and got herself knocked out. And then I really felt sorry for her in the Amanda Nunes fight, because talk about someone that could probably make it as a boxer. Amanda Nunes, she's a savage. So actually, she'd probably be good to come back and fight Katie Taylor, and we'd actually have a fight, Nunes and Katie Taylor. But yeah, unfortunately, Ronda, she was exposed badly for her lack of overall skills. So I hope she's reconsiders. I think what's sort of brought it up is that she's been training a lot. I think she's just had her second baby. So she's back training and looking pretty good and feeling good about herself. So of course it's going to get raised. But I think so far she's sort of watered it down. But the fact she's sort of increasing the training could make it possibly a potential fight. But yeah, I actually as I said, I really admired her for what she brought to the sport. No female fighter, boxing, UFC, whatever, has caused so much hysteria in the sport. I mean, she was an absolute superstar, Ronda Rousey, and like her or not, and whether she can fight or not, didn't matter. She put that sport on the map. I know Conor McGregor played a big part as well, and I know there's been a lot of other fighters that have come and gone in the UFC, but Ronda Rousey in the women's is the one that really was the pioneer of that sport. And whether you think she can fight or not, full respect to her is just a true pioneer of that sport. And yeah, look, who knows if she'll come back and fight Katie Taylor. But as I said, if she comes back in and it's a proper boxing match, she might be in a bit of trouble, I reckon. Now, we've all been talking about Janabek and Lara coming up for the 3 belts in the middleweight division, and Terence Crawford has expressed interest in coming back and fighting the winner of that. I think he's got his eyes more on Janabek Alam Kanuli at the moment. Well, Eddie Hearn has, as he always seems to do, has said that, well, we're not going to step aside. Now, he's got, what fight am I talking about there? Hang on, I'll get the ratings up. I forgot to actually write down his fighter's name. Who's the IBF? Where is it? Rankings. Middleweights. Is it? Oh, Ammo Williams. That's right. What am I thinking? Austin Ammo Williams. So Eddie Hearn has pushed the IBF to make sure that after this fight that Austin Ammo Williams gets his shot at the winner. So that would then potentially throw into chaos the undisputed title of this division. So I've got a feeling that Terence Crawford would love the fight with Janabek, or even Lara, preferably Janabek. But I think pretty sure he would want the 3 titles on the line and then maybe push for the Adames fight after that, or whatever it might be. But I think he wants to chase undisputed at 160. But is Eddie Hearn, as much as I love Eddie, mate, don't stand in the way of history of Terence Crawford going for 4 world titles or undisputed titles. But Hearn has said that he's got clarification or confirmation from the IBF that no matter what, that Ammo or Austin Ammo Williams will be pushed up as the next fight for the winner of Janabek and Lara, and no excuses, no sidestepping, nothing like that. Eddie Hearn wants to push his fighter. Look, that's his job, I suppose. He's pushing the barrow for Ammo Williams, but Jesus, will that derail maybe a potential fight with Janabek? I've got a feeling if Janabek actually wins the fight against Lara and does it impressively, and the IBF strips Janabek for not fighting Williams, I still think that Crawford might be interested. It would still be a massive fight for him. It's a perfect fight for him, 160 to go down. I think 160 will be his perfect division going forward. And, of course, that fight makes the most sense. I don't think Lara would be totally or overly appealing for Crawford, but I suppose, end of the day, if he's got the belts, that's all that he's after. But Eddie, if you're watching this episode, mate, just let things lie, mate, and let Terence Crawford put the pieces together and go for that undisputed at middleweight, because what a achievement that would be for Crawford to be a 4-time undisputed world champion. All right, I think we had a couple more. Where are we? Oh, last one. Now, there's talk that with the WBO in the heavyweight division, come here, buddy. All right, we'll go around here. Come back this way. Good boy. Good boy. Let's go this way. He's wandering around in circles at the moment. That if the Usyk and Wardley fight doesn't come off, and I would be staggered if Wardley doesn't get his crack at Usyk. I mean, he's the most logical opponent for Alexander's Usyk's next fight. That the WBO will force Wardley to fight his stablemate, Moses Ortama. Now, I'm just a little bit perplexed about this, because this is for the interim title, by the way, that if Wardley doesn't get a shot at Usyk, the WBO have said they will force him to fight Ortama for the for the interim WBO heavyweight title. Now, the thing is, I would have thought that being that the WBO is next on the rotation for Usyk as far as the belts goes, that if he refuses to fight Fabio Wardley, that he would in fact be stripped of the WBO title, and Ortama and Wardley would actually fight for the full belt That's what I would think, but that's not what I read. The statement from the WBO is that if the fight doesn't happen between Usyk and Wardley, that Otama and Wardley will fight for the interim belt. So does that just mean Usyk just gets off the hook and just fights whoever he wants? I don't know. But by right, considering that the WBO is next in the rotation for the mandatories, that if Usyk refuses to fight Wardley, he should be stripped and they fight for the full belt. But either way, we're going to get some great heavyweight fights. I still think Usyk will probably consider his options and still see that Wardley is his biggest fight. Now, he still might be holding out for... well, who would he be holding out for, by the way? That's probably the question. He said he doesn't want to fight Fury. He's not really interested in fighting Joshua. Dubois, there's no way you would think, getting a potential third fight with Usyk as well. So who else is there in the division, apart from Wardley and Otama, who would be remotely attractive for Alexander Usyk? I don't know, but it just seemed a bit odd. But anyway, I'm sure all that will come to light over the next sort of couple of months when Usyk decides who he's going to fight. So guys, have a great Wednesday, and we'll catch you tomorrow.